What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another edition of Giants Collective. Happy Tuesday. As you can see, our girl Arjana is still overseas, abroad, as we said last time, in Paris. So she'll be back on Thursday. And tonight is just the guys running a cover three. We appreciate you tuning in as always. If you could do us a favor, hit the thumbs up. It helps out the stream. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're about 11 subscribers away from 6,500. It didn't work today, Chris?
Didn't work. I think it needs the larger screen. That's why.
Yeah, that could be. Who the hell knows? You can check us out wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeart. If you listen to us on Apple, if you could leave a 5-star review, that'd be great. You can also check us out on TikTok and Instagram as well. And this portion of Giants Collective is brought to you by our friends at Doer. Holidays are here, and this year I'm not stressing about what to wear because I'll be wearing my Doers. These are the most comfortable pants, clothes that I own, and they make me look good. Denim and lifestyle apparel is engineered for movement versatility, whether I'm on the go, traveling, lounging at home, or going to a nice dinner party. If you don't have your Doers yet, now is the time. Doer invented the original performance denim, and they give us the best of both worlds, combining classic jeanswear style with the kind of comfort and performance you get from athletic wear. Designed to look great and stay comfortable all day long and all year round. So get in on Doer. It's your time to experience the comfort for yourself. I know you'll love these. Pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift. Go to shopdoer.com. That's shopdoer, D-U-E-R. Enter the promo code Giants Collective to get 15% off your first order, or it's very easy. All you got to do is click the link in the description. It'll automatically put that code in there where you get 15% off of your purchase. So, gentlemen, before we get into the Giants, I just want to say Jalen Hurts, that was a hell of a performance by Jalen Hurts. I got to admit, I've never seen in my 40-plus years of watching football a guy turn the ball over twice in one possession, like in one.
Impressive.
That's impressive. That's elite talent to do that. And because of that, son of a bitch, my fantasy team finished 13-1. I needed 12 points. He got me 0.4. And this is because Daniel Jones got hurt. If Daniel Jones didn't get hurt, I'm going to win the week anyway. But I just wanted to say thanks a lot, Jalen. Appreciate you. It was well worth the loss. It didn't happen to me in the postseason, so I didn't care. It was hilarious watching him turn the ball over 5 times. And Eagle fans are coping hard today because their quarterback sucks ass. Ours doesn't. I just want to put that out there. By the way, a fun stat. Jaxson Darts turned the ball over 5 times all season. Jalen Hurts turned it over 5 times. And Jaxson Dart beat the Chargers in his first ever start. So thank you. Thank you very much. I had to get that out of the way. I can't help myself. Because of the goings on, though, we obviously had a bye week, which is why we didn't do the show on Thursday. But it was a great weekend for the Giants. Every team in this division lost, which always makes us happy. You know, we love seeing all the other teams lose because screw them. And the Titans, of course, even though sure Sanders had a hell of a game, the Titans were able to beat the Browns, which means the New York Giants, for the second time in a row, at this point in the season, have the first overall pick in the draft. We win the tiebreaker because our strength of schedule is lesser than the Titans. So right now we have the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Anthony, do we want to lose out and keep this first pick? Do you think the Giants will lose out and keep this first pick? And if they do, what do you think they do with it?
I don't think they're going to lose out. The schedule is really easy, and I think with Jaxson Dart out there, he's going to fight, and he's probably going to sneak away with a win or 2. So I don't think the Giants are going to end up with the first overall pick, but if they do end up with the first overall pick, if that miracle occurs, that's going to be really exciting for Giants fans, obviously, especially because the number one thing that you want, or the best case scenario, if you're picking first overall, you're picking first overall and you have your franchise quarterback. That is best case scenario. Most teams want the first overall pick so that they can get their quarterback. But if you already have your quarterback and you get the first overall pick, that's when you're in position to trade down for a king's ransom like the Bears did in 2023, like many other teams have done in the past, and you get to rebuild your roster very quickly, just like the Bears did. So I'm hoping we end up with the number 1 overall pick. Not that I'm rooting for losses necessarily, but I'm at the point in the season, I don't really care one way or another how the game goes. It's not like we're fighting for a playoff spot. We are eliminated. If we win, cool. That's good experience for Jaxson Dart to keep fighting and to get some wins. If we lose, cool. We're one step closer to a higher draft pick. So I'm pretty whatever. I don't care either way. But again, I don't think we're going to end up with the first overall pick. I think the Commanders this Sunday are a beatable team for sure. I know we play the Vikings, we play the Raiders, and we play Dallas. I don't think we're going to beat Dallas, but all of those other 3 teams, they're pretty beatable. So, especially with Jaxson Dart, if he plays the way that he did when he played against the Chargers, the Eagles, even the Broncos, he was great in that game until the
Bears, good against Bears too. Yeah.
Bears too, he played great until he knocked out with that concussion. So, again, do I think we're getting the number 1 overall pick? No. Would I like to see it happen? Sure. But I only really want to see it happen because they have Jaxson Dart. So you can really just trade down and get a king's ransom. And that's what I want to see. And honestly, even if the Giants are picking top 3, I think they should try and trade down. So it should be exciting, though.
Yeah, it's December. It's a holiday season. And as usual here on Giants Collective or any other Giants podcast for that matter, we're talking draft. Never talking about the playoffs. Chris, as Anthony mentioned, our schedule is pretty easy. We have the Commanders. They're pretty lousy. I mean, we're lousy too. But I'm not, the Commanders might beat us. I mean, Mariota might have a good game. Chris Rodriguez, I mean, their running game could run right over us. But we do play the Raiders, and they suck. I mean, they're awful.
We suck too.
We do. I mean, Genty could have a career year or a career game. He could have a career year in that game alone with that. What do you think happens here? Do you think we end up with the first overall pick? Do you think we win? What would you do with the first pick?
No, I don't think we will. Because the Giants always find a way to win these games late in the year to hurt their potential draft pick, and I expect that to happen, especially like Anthony and you said, when you look at the Giants' schedule. I think you could make an argument that all 4 games are winnable because the Cowboys likely won't have anything to play for the last game of the season. So who knows? They might not even play Dak for all we know. If they're out of playoff contention, which they certainly could be if you look at the standings right now with the loss that they had this past week. But we'll see how the rest of the year plays out. But even if you exclude Dallas, Washington, very beatable. I don't think it's been announced whether or not Daniels is going to play, but Washington would be idiots to play him after he came back and suffered another injury. So I think they got to be cautious there if you're Washington. So I expect Mariota, but I also realize the Giants might have the worst defense since 1925 in the NFL. Like our defense is pitiful. So we easily could make Mariota look like, Joe Montana. So I wouldn't be stunned if he plays really well against the Giants, and we could win any of these next 3 games and we could lose any of them. But I just think the law of averages, because of the schedule, because I think Jaxson Dart will find a way to win at least one of those games, maybe even 2. I'm leaning that we won't have the first pick. I think we'll have a top 3 to 5 pick. I think that's kind of probably where we're going to fall. And I'm okay with that. And I agree with what Anthony said. I'm at the point in the season where I'm not going to get upset if the Giants win a game, especially with a young quarterback like Jaxson Dart. You want him to gain experience. You want him to gain more confidence. I see the positives from that. And I'm also not going to get upset if they lose and we end up with the number 1 overall pick, because at the end of the day, what do you have to build off of to go into next year? We already know you're going to have a completely new coaching staff. You're likely going to have a completely new general manager. So you're starting from square one anyway with Jaxson Dart and a few nice pieces from the prior regimes, from Gettleman with, of course, Dexter Lawrence and Andrew Thomas, and some of the pieces that Shane's brought in if we elect to move on from him. So there's nothing really translatable from year to year. So at this point, if you're asking me what's the optimal thing to happen for the Giants, Jaxson Dart plays well, Jaxson Dart stays healthy, and the Giants lose their last 4 games and we get the first overall pick. Because at that point, you're attracting the best possible general manager candidate there is if you're electing to move on from Shane, because it's even a more attractive job. Because like Anthony said, the GM candidate looks at it and he says, oh my God, I could trade back. The Jets may want to get Mendoza. I could get a king's ransom.
The Raiders could use him.
And I will have a plethora of picks over the next 2-3 years to be able to build around Jaxson Dart and continue to build this football team up. So for me, yeah, I'm never a guy that roots to lose, but I definitely think if you ask me what's the better thing for the long term of this Giants football team at this point, yeah, I think it's to lose out. That's how I feel right now. Do I think they will? No. I think they'll win at least 1, if not 2. But if they were to get the first pick, you have to trade down.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I'm at the point where I if they win, they win. It's good to build winning culture. It's good for Jaxson Dart's mentality. It's good for him. like I said, to win some games, to get that feeling of confidence and feel what it's like to win a few football games, because you can see he takes losses hard. He's a gamer. And yeah, he's not going to fold. He's going to want to try. He's going to give you everything he has all the time. We see it. He gives too much sometimes, as we saw against the Patriots, taking those wicked hits because he just wants to win so bad. So I'm not going to kill him if the Giants win a couple of games here down the stretch and he gets a little confidence going forward and they have something to build off of going into next year. And at the same time, if they lose, I'm not going to be pissed off about it, because if they ended up with the first overall pick in the draft, you know what the hell that's like. Especially you saw what Mendoza did. You saw them beat Ohio State. I'm very interested to see how the playoffs work here as far as the college football playoffs go. It's very interesting the way stuff works out with the college football playoffs. And I know Notre Dame and Miami and all this. Alabama lost. I get all it is, and it doesn't matter. You could have 16 teams, 24 teams. Somebody's always going to be pissed off that they're not in there. That's a totally different show. But somebody needs a quarterback. The Jets need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. So you could sell that pick for, like you said, a king's ransom. The difference between this year and last year, when the Giants beat the Colts, I was pissed. And that was the first time, I think, in my life that I actually was rooting for the Giants to just tank out, because I wanted a Cameron Ward. I just wanted a quarterback. We got our quarterback now. So if we finish and we pick third and we get you can still trade back. But if you end up with Reese, if you end up with Downs, if you end up with a defensive player, if you end up with Tate, if you end up with Jordan Tyson, if you end up with something you need and you're picking sixth and you end up with one of those guys, I'm cool with that too. But obviously, like you said, Chris, the betterment of the Giants franchise would be to have that first pick or the second pick trade back to like 6, get your guy and get additional first and second round pick and build around your future quarterback, which is Jaxson Dart. You got a good piece with Scadaboo. You got a great receiver in Malik Neighbors. There's other things that the Giants have to do this offseason, which we'll get into, but I feel like you got to sign Illuminor. I feel like you got to sign Cordell Flott. And Anthony mentioned it perfectly a couple shows ago, I think, about Wandale. I guess it depends on what the Giants want to do. If they're going to draft a wide receiver, you don't pay Wandale. If they're going to go defense with Downs or Reese, then you probably should sign him to a contract, but you can't let Flott leave and you can't let Illuminor leave, especially with how weak our offensive line has been and our secondary is. You can't let those guys go. We've already seen McKinney leave. We've seen Julian Love leave. We've seen a lot of guys leave this team that are talented. I don't think you can do that. And the thing is, would a new GM want those guys? And it's going to be a new GM. Does he want Joe Shane's guys? So you never know. It's going to be a very interesting offseason. That's for sure.
And Shane still could be back. We're speaking like it's a formality. It possibly is back. I'm not ruling that out either. I'm leaning he won't be, though.
Listen, man, you guys know I've defended Joe Shane a lot, and I was an advocate of he needs to come back.
Yeah.
But after what happened against the Patriots and his press conference, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not, like I said, if they don't fire him, I'm not going to be upset. But just watching that, I'm like, I don't think he's confident in what he's done. I think he feels like he's on the way out. And what kind of a head coaching candidate are you going to attract if Joe Shane's here for a year? Because if the GM if the Giants are 3-10 at this point again next year or whatever, and he's fired, what the hell happens to the coaches?
I agree with you. I think now's the time to make the move, because it's also probably never going to be a more attractive time to bring in a general manager because of where we're going to be picking in the draft, because we have the quarterback only 1 year into his rookie salary. I think it's a more attractive destination than it would be 2 years from now, because if you're sticking with Shane, you're more than likely giving him another 2 years because you're bringing in a new head coach. So I think now's the time to do it. And I think they will. I'm just not ruling anything out. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't know, but again, I was an advocate of keeping him, but I just don't think that's what the best thing is for the New York Giants. Chris, what are you looking for from Jaxson Dart the last 4 games?
Play smarter. That's the thing I'm going to be looking at the most. I mean, obviously the things that's impressed everybody the most with him, I think, is his pocket awareness. Anthony posted a clip on Twitter yesterday. I didn't necessarily agree with that only 5 quarterbacks could make that play, but then he changed it. He said routinely. But the thing that has stood out to me the most with Dart is exactly that: his pocket awareness, his ability to extend plays, create big plays down the field. We know what we have. Does he have some limitations? Perhaps. He's got to work on his mechanics. I think he's got to get better with the deep ball. But overall, I think we have a guy that could potentially be a franchise quarterback. There's no doubt about it. But the thing that I want to see him work on more than anything is play smarter. You know, we watched Jalen Hurts play last night, and he had the worst game a quarterback could have, Bad Dog. But one thing that stood out to me during that game, every time he's on the sideline, he's taking 2 or 3 less yards. He's getting out of bounds. He's not taking the unnecessary hits. I need to see that from Jaxson Dart. I'm not saying don't ever put your body on the line. When it's appropriate, you do what you have to do to get that first down. But I need to see him play a lot smarter. I don't want to see him in the blue tent over the last 4 games this year. So that, above anything else, is what I'm looking for from Jaxson Dart.
I'll say this about Jalen Hurts, one more thing. You know, if he threw every ball right into the ground, he would have had a higher quarterback rating than he had last. It's a fact. If he spiked 30 passes into the ground, he would have had a higher QB rating than he had last night. Anthony, what are you looking to see out of Jaxson Dart the last 4 games of the season?
Same thing as Chris. I want to see him protect his body, not do anything stupid, go out of bounds when you've got the opportunity to. Obviously, fight for contact. I'm a big proponent of him fighting for contact when it's appropriate, when it's necessary, but it's not going to be necessary over these last few games. Like, it's over. There's no playoff spot to fight for. The season's done. So you might as well just protect your body and not put anything on the line if you don't need to. What else do I want to see from him, though? I want to see him continue to lead and continue to stay engaged, because I feel like in that Monday night game last week versus the New England Patriots, it wasn't just Dart, but it felt like the whole team collectively just kind of gave up. I think that they were winded. I think it's been a long season. Obviously, they're not playing for anything. And when the Patriots started beating up on them, it kind of just felt like the whole team was like, whatever, let's just let it happen. Let's get out of here and get to the bye week. I don't really want to see that from the quarterback, though. And to some extent, especially because of the post-game comments that Dart had, it almost felt like he was on the same wavelength as a lot of those other players who felt like, let's just get to the bye week. Because he was asked after the game, about protecting his body, and he was like, I'm not going to change. I've been doing this in high school. It was like a character break for him. It was very different from the tone that we heard from him throughout the whole other half of the season. So I just want to see him stay focused. Don't give up. Just keep fighting. Keep playing like the games matter. Maybe they don't, but they should. Treat them like they do, because what you're putting on film right now, a new GM could come in and they could reevaluate that film, and they do have the number 1 overall pick. And there are some asinine GMs out there who might do something stupid. Don't give them a reason to do anything stupid over these next 4 games. Continue to be the star that you've demonstrated that you can be throughout the first 11 games or however many starts he's made. So I just don't want to see him give up, and I want to see him protect himself, all those things. I want to see him try and win. Even if the Giants don't win, I want to see him try to win. So just want to watch Jaxson Dart play more good football is really it.
100%. I'm on board with that, Anthony. On board.
I'll also just say one other thing, since I think Bad Dog might be having technical difficulties. We're ragging on Jalen Hurts, as we should. He was terrible last night. He's not a top 10 quarterback. But I also just got to give credit to Jesse Minter, Chargers defensive coordinator. He was awesome last night. He's been awesome since he took over as DC for the Chargers last year. Chris, I know you love the Chargers. I love the Chargers. You love the Chargers.
Harbaugh, which makes me
you love Harbaugh, which makes you love the Chargers. I love the Chargers for so many reasons. They're a very likable football team. One of those reasons, though, Jesse Minter, one of the top head coaching candidates, too. That was a pretty good audition. If you're looking at it from the Giants' perspective.
I'm gonna tell you what, Anthony, and it's you don't think about him for Coach of the Year, but the more I'm thinking about it, Jim Harbaugh's name should be in that conversation. The fact that the Chargers are 9-4 when they're missing both Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater for basically the entirety of the season, he's done an amazing job with that team. If I would have told you before the year started they were going to be missing, those are the 2 most important offensive players on that team outside of Justin Herbert. You would have, and Herbert's playing with a broken hand, nevertheless, probably because he's missing his 2 tackles. Harbaugh's done a fantastic job with that Chargers team this year. I know they were my preseason Super Bowl pick, but that was me assuming that Slater and Alt would be healthy. So he's done a great job.
No, I'm with you. I totally agree. But Minter too. Like, if you're looking at assistant coaches of the year, because there is an assistant coach of the year award, I think Jesse Minter's got a really strong case for it, because I think he does a lot with a little. They don't have a ton invested into that defense. And so when I'm looking at it from a Giants fan's perspective of who could be the next head coach, Minter's a hot name. He's only 42 years old, but he's got experience. He's been in DC for a few years. He had success at the collegiate level too, and he's worked under Jim and John Harbaugh. He's got a lot of good experience, and these last 2 years, he's proven to be one of the best assistant coaches in the league. And I thought last night's game against an NFC East opponent, the reigning Super Bowl champs within the NFC East, that felt like a direct audition to the New York Giants. Like, hey, you're looking for a defensive coordinator that can maximize Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and everybody else. That's me, Jesse Minter, right here on Primetime for you. So I thought that was pretty exciting if you watch it from that angle.
Good call. I like that.
Just speaking of the Chargers offensive line, they were so beat up. Bobby Hart was it. You guys remember Bobby Hart here for the Giants? I heard that name. I said, holy shit, that guy's still in the league. I couldn't believe it. By the way, this portion of Giants Collective brought to you by our friends at Manta. That's right. Tired of waking up before your alarm because the sun hits your face? The Manta original sleep mask blocks out every bit of light so you can actually stay asleep. True 100% blackout, blocks all light, even around the nose and sides for complete darkness. It has adjustable eye cups, soft memory foam cups that can be positioned to fit your face perfectly without any eye pressure. Soft, lightweight, breathable materials that keep you comfortable all night and won't overheat. Plus, it has a fully adjustable strap that fits all head sizes and stays in place through the night. Go to mantasleep.com, enter the promo code NYG to get 10% off your order. Again, that's Manta Sleep, promo code NYG. And again, you can just click the link in the description, get 10% off your order. I always keep mine here for when the Giants play, because a lot of times I don't want to see what the hell is going on. Abdul Carter also swears by these in defensive meetings by Charlie Bull. And by the way, Hard Knocks is on tonight, and the Hard Knocks show was actually pretty depressing when I still
haven't watched the first episode.
You know who loved it? My kid. My kid says to me, because I forgot it was on, and I went back and watched it Wednesday, and he watched it with me, and I already have my kid laughing at the Eagles losing. It's fantastic. I'm teaching him very well. And he says to me after, he goes, Dad, is there another one of those on? I go, not till next week. So I like that he's getting into football. But yeah, so check out Manta Sleep. The Patriots game is interesting because you know what the Patriots did? That's a winning team. You punch these guys in the face, knocked them down on the ground, stepped on the throat, and didn't let them up. You made a team quit. That season was over. You didn't let them hang around. You didn't give them any opportunity. You didn't give them any hope of winning that game. You took them out at 17-0. As far as I want to see what Jaxson Dart, it's like you guys said, I want him to be smart. I don't want him to be taking unnecessary hits. I understand you're a gamer. I understand that's in your game. I get it. But at some point, you're going to have to learn. You can't keep doing that because you're going to depart. It doesn't matter how much you want to do it or how long you've been doing it. You've been doing it since high school, man. You get knocked out, man, you're not going to play. You get a concussion, you're not going to help your team win. You're not helping your team win by, getting knocked out. That's not helping at all. So hopefully he does learn a little bit. Just, like I said, if you have a yard to get, I understand it. Try to get the yard for a first down. Totally get it. But if it's 3rd and 16, let's not, get 7 yards and try to run over somebody. Just go down at that point. You're really not playing for anything. Get your experience, stay healthy, work on throwing the ball deep down the field. I feel like that's the one part of his game that needs the most improvement. He's not always on time with those. He underthrows some of them. He overthrows some of them. I would like to see him get better at that. But he's got to stay healthy because these reps are important for him. It's important for him to learn, read these defenses, get more experience out there so that when he does, get under center next year, he's that much more experienced and he understands, the speed of the game. You understand the defense is a lot better. You're going to see the Commanders for the first time in your career on Sunday. That's a team you're going to play twice a year. You're going to see the Cowboys at the end of the year. These are teams you're going to have to beat at some point. So it's good for him to get that experience. The Raiders obviously are just absolute shit. If there's one team that's worse than us, it's them. I mean, they are really, really bad. Oh, you know what? I want to ask you guys this real quick. Either one of you can answer. What did you think about the Raiders kicking that field goal at the end of the game that covered the spread?
That was a big controversy from the gambling world on Twitter because it was an 8.5 point spread or 7.5 point spread?
Yep, and the over under was 38.5, I think.
And the field goal made it 41, I think, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I mean, in fairness, I understand why. I know a lot of people are like, why do you even kick the field goal? Especially people that bet on the game. But thinking about it from the perspective of the coach, the only thing that's like semi-conspiratorial to me is the referee throwing the flag when the game is completely over because he held the guy down for a second or two when there's 5-6 seconds left on the clock. But if I was the coach in that spot, I would have kicked the field goal too. I would have hoped that my kicker would be able to kick it to the back net with 1 second left, and I'd have the opportunity to recover an onside kick. If there was like a second or two left, I get it. But with 5 seconds left, I could understand kicking the field goal to try to give yourself like 1 second to be able to come up with some fluke play at the end of the game, at least give yourself a chance to win. But I think the conspiratorial part of me says that's a iffy flag there to throw that.
Why is the Broncos player ripping the ball out of his hand?
Yeah,
I mean, it was a delay of game.
Yeah,
we saw that happened to us. When,
it was a legitimate flag.
It was a legitimate flag.
Yeah, it's just a weird point in the game to throw it. That's what I would say.
Anthony, did you have any thought about that at all? I mean, I didn't care.
What's that? This whole ordeal. I missed this, so.
You didn't see it? Yeah, that was a big to do about. The spread was 8.5. They were down by 10, and the over under was 38.5, and they had 38. And the Raiders kicked a field goal to make it 24-17. As it was 24-14 Broncos. Raiders kicked a field goal as time expired to make it 24.
Yeah. So to give you a quick breakdown, Anthony. Basically, the Raiders had it on like their own 35 or 40, whatever it was. They throw a completion to the opponent's like 35 or 40 with about 5 or 6 seconds left, down 10 points, no timeouts, and the Broncos player is on top of the receiver and he doesn't let him get up. So they throw the flag, and then that allows the
because it stops the clock. The penalty stops the clock
with 5 seconds left, and then it allows the Raiders to kick the field goal to cover the spread and go over on the over-under. So the gambling world was going nuts about that.
Yeah, it was pretty.
You go nuts about everything, though. Honestly,
I didn't know anything about that either till I hit Twitter. No. Which, by the way, if you didn't notice today and last night, boy, I had a ball with that. Listen, man, it's called hate watching, and I proudly do it because my team is garbage. I don't have anything else to cheer for. I mean, I know the Eagles are going to win the division. Cowboys, if the Cowboys would have won, they would have made it interesting. That's for sure. But none of this really matters. Just hope the Eagles lose in the first round of the playoffs. The good thing about that is they're not going to get the number 1 seed, so they're going to have to play the first week, and they'll get a home game, but then they'll have to play on the road if they win their home game. So I just want them knocked the hell out of there. Fuck them. I can't stand the freaking Philadelphia Eagles. I hate them as much.
I'm picking the Packers. That's my pick. I'm sticking with it. I got 4 weeks to go in the regular season. Packers are my pick out of the NFC to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. One thing I'll say about the Eagles with the Rams.
You go and talk, Anthony. I respect it. You should pick them right now. They're the favorite. I don't know. Something's telling me the Packers are starting to get hot at the right time, and I'm a big fan of Jordan Love. I like the way that he played in the playoffs 2 years ago.
I'll tell you what, too, getting Christian Watson back is a big deal for them because that's their home run hitter. So yeah, as long as you got the one thing I'll say about the Eagles, their offense is obviously total shit. Teams that shut down Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts ain't beating you with his arm. We know that. I mean, anybody outside of the Eagles fan base knows that guy's not beating you with his arm. They can sit there and say, oh, he played well in the Super Bowl, and he did, but it's because the Chiefs put 10 men in the box to stop Saquon Barkley. This year, teams have stopped Saquon without that. But one thing about the Eagles, their defense is really freaking good. That is
it's amazing to me, Baddog. I said it to you on Twitter. How are they even in that game last night? With how bad Hurts turned the ball over 5 times, the game went into overtime. No touchdowns. Like you said, their defense is definitely.
Their defense is really good. And that guy that wears 17 of the Eagles, I said it a couple weeks ago. The Giants really need to take a look at that. That's Nakobe Dean. They really I loved him out of Georgia anyway, and I know he slipped down the draft board for whatever reason. I forgot what it was. He had some injury or something he didn't take care of. I like him, man. I tell you what, just let Bobby Okereke walk. You save $9 million. Sign McFadden.
You get rid of him. $9 million.
Get Nakobe Dean in here. Yeah, McFadden and Dean. That'd be pretty good. McFadden ain't gonna cost shit. So I don't know.
I'm just curious. Who's your guys picking the AFC right now? If you had to pick, because I think the AFC is all over the place. Because the Chiefs aren't going to make the playoffs. It looks like the Ravens.
No, they can't. They're out.
The playoffs. What?
The Chiefs are pretty much done.
Yeah, they're pretty much done. The Ravens are still in it because of the division they play in. But
the Pats are really good.
I mean, the Pats right now are playing. I mean, they've won, 9 straight or whatever.
They're
it's
really
been.
good, man. They're
10 straight. Yep, 10 straight.
I think
No, it's Denver. Denver's also won 10 straight.
Denver's really tough to play
I
Mile
don't
High
know.
Stadium.
I'm not sold on the Broncos, though.
I'm not either.
I'm going to tell you what. I think it's finally – I just think everything's falling into place for him. And I agree with you. I think the Patriots right now look like the best team. But I'm going to go with the experience. I think it's Buffalo's year. I think it's Josh Allen's year to get to the Super Bowl. He doesn't have the Chiefs in his path.
The Ravens are –
Yeah, he just got Kincaid back. I feel like the Bills are going to go in, and they're my pick right now. Bills, Packers, that's my pick.
the Patriots did beat them.
They did, and they're playing each other this week, I think.
Yeah, so that's obviously big. But again, if Buffalo had to travel to New England, it would be interesting because Drake May doesn't have experience in those situations than Josh Allen does. It'll be fun. The AFC is going to be fun. The NFC's got some really good teams too. So, well, let's see. One thing I do know is I know one team that won't be there, and that's the fucking Giants. And we do that in the middle of October, unfortunately. One day, man, I promise. One day at this time of the year, we're here on Giants Collective. We're going to be talking about us in the playoffs.
I think it could happen next year. I mean, the Bears, the Patriots, what they did, that's encouraging. I'm not saying it will happen, but I think it could happen. It definitely could.
It's a real coach.
Yeah, you got to hire the right coach.
Yeah, let's just get it done. Real GM.
Who's the right coach, though? I think you guys are both Mike McCarthy fans at this point. Let's take Mike McCarthy off the board.
My dream candidate is Tomlin. I just don't think he's going to be available.
Yeah. Take the dream candidates out. Go based on like the coordinators that we're pretty sure are going to be available, like all those guys. Who is
Minter is definitely Minter and Kubiak are probably the two guys.
Yeah,
that I look at and say
I like Shula too. I like Shula too. What they've done with that team this year.
Shula's my favorite.
But I'm and I hate to use the word dream because it's like Mike McCarthy is the furthest thing for a dream for me. Like I don't dream about.
He's the safest guy, I think.
But I love the 300-pound men, and McCarthy fits that. But I based off where the Giants are as a franchise, I just think McCarthy makes the most sense. Yeah. He's not the most exciting pick for me. He's not.
No, I agree.
I think we're excited for Shula, to be honest with you.
Safe.
I agree. I just said let's take McCarthy out of it, not because I don't think he's. I honestly think he's going to get the job. It's just we've talked about it before, so I wanted to get your perspectives on some of the other guys like
if
Shula,
you take McCarthy out, I just think he's the right fit for the Giants right now for all the reasons we've talked about on the past show.
I agree.
I think I'd go with Shula. I think
should actually happen is the Chiefs. What a disappointing year. I think Andy Reid should be fired. He's done a terrible job.
I mean, he did do a terrible job in that game.
What a horrible job. Fire him and send him over here, please.
I'll take him.
That's your dream coach.
By the way, what the hell was he thinking in that game?
Desperate. I think he was desperate.
Dude, the Chiefs gave up in that second half, you had played almost a quarter. You had about 8 minutes left. So you played almost a quarter and a half worth of football in that second half. The Chiefs had surrendered 17 yards in the second half up to that point and 1 first down. And he goes for it on 4th and a full yard. It wasn't like 4th and an inch. 4th and a full yard on his own 30-yard line in a tie game.
Yeah.
What the hell was Andy Reid thinking?
I tell you, he's desperate. I think it's desperation. The Chiefs
lost. Punt the ball, you get the stop, you get the ball back.
Yeah. I just think he knew that they lost, they were done, and that's a fast fall.
Yeah.
For them. I mean, they're just, you ran in 3 straight Super Bowls. Eventually, everything, all good things must come to an end, but for them to miss the playoffs, that's pretty. But even last year, I don't think they were very good, and they still found them. I mean, they won. How many games did they win at the end of the game by blocking field goals or missed field goals? They won a ton of one-possession games, and they still found their way into the Super Bowl because I just feel like Andy Reid is such a great coach, but I feel like it's finally caught up there. But I didn't expect them to miss totally, and they would take an absolute miracle. Like they need to win out, and they need a bunch of other stuff to happen for them to make it. They don't
have a cupcake schedule either, right? They still play some challenging teams, right?
Yeah, they definitely do. They have a first place schedule. So, but that said, that brings us to the close of the first part of Giants Collective. The Q&A portion of Giants Collective brought to us by our friends at SeatGeek. Check out SeatGeek, guys and girls, and the promo code Giants Collective 10 to get 10% off your purchase at SeatGeek. Let's hear from them 80 seconds back after this with your questions. What's going on, guys and gals? You looking for a fun activity? You want to get out of the house? You need something to do? Are you looking for a great gift idea? Well, if so, look no farther than the sponsor of Giants Collective, which is SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There's more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Giants season is underway. And say you want to check out Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders at MetLife Stadium? Well, it's easy. Just go to SeatGeek, scroll around, look for the tickets that you want, and SeatGeek's going to have your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. That's good. The red dots, well, it's not so good. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use the code Giants Collective for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That's 10% off any tickets with the promo code Giants Collective. Make sure you click that link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek, for sponsoring Giants Collective, and let's go Giants! Yeah, let's end the season, Giants. Oh, by the way, I'll give myself a pat on the back. I didn't mention this because it has nothing to do with anything. But Saturday, I bowled a perfect game. Give me some.
Nice.
First time since 2007. Of course, I didn't bowl for between 2008 and 2024. But I finally freaking did it again. Bowled a perfect game. 14 for me in my career. So Mookie Betts ain't got shit on me. I know Mookie Betts.
14 more than me. And probably.
All righty, let's get to these questions. Our friend Dominic, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, hey, guys, I love watching Eagles, as I know you do because you respond to all the stuff on Twitter that it's always fun. Who doesn't love watching them?
Misery loves company when you're a Giants fan. So, yes, I certainly enjoy watching the Eagles lose.
It's got nothing to do with misery loving company. We could be perfect. And
I agree with you. I enjoy it no matter what, but especially when the Giants are out of it, and that's really all you have to look forward to, especially on prime time. So
I just love that my kid is now cheering for them to lose and laugh. He also laughs in the Cowboys. It was like, I'm raising him properly, just so you all know in the chat. I'm raising my son to be a stand-up Giants fan. Even if he isn't a Giants fan, he could just not root for them, but he'll be a Giant. He doesn't have any choice. Yeah, same thing here. He's got to be a Yankee and a Giants fan. The rest of it, I don't care who he roots for.
By the way, speaking of baseball, what's Steve Cohen doing?
Letting Diaz walk?
He's letting Edwin Diaz walk. Best closer in baseball. He just lets
you got Devin Williams.
He's not Edwin Diaz.
He sucks, Chris.
I don't know. Like Steve Cohen he comes to New York and he brags about his wallet and you let him walk out the door to the team that you're trying to compete with to go to the World Series. I was not happy today at work when I saw that. That was not good.
Devin Williams sucks.
Yeah.
And he's got to close there now. It's not good. Oh, by the way, the Yankees, they like Ahmed Rosario. Well, everybody else is looking at like the Yankees. I don't want to talk about it. Tutto, grazie, paisano. Hey, I know he's happy.
Yeah.
Because Fat Fuck Dumbo's gone. And I don't think we've seen Tutto since Fat Fuck Dumbo's been gone. So I know Tutto's very happy about that. He says, massive salutes, respects to our Italian paisanos and all Italian Giants fans across the pond. Greetings from our entire rugby club currently in France. Hey, that's where Adriana is.
Maybe she went to the game. Maybe that's why she went.
Maybe. Buongiorno. That's Italian. But bonjour is French. Bonne nuit. Good evening. All that good stuff. Tudo, we love you, buddy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're breaking some bones, not your own. You know, obviously people on the opposition. But I know Tudor's got to be happy about Dumbo. Fat fuck, that's still my favorite thing anybody's ever called him. Tudor was right the whole time.
He was spot on.
He was. Jason, thank you, buddy. I'll support whoever they hire, but I personally want a veteran coach with some success. We need to get this head coach hire correct. No more swings and misses.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can do as a fan, right, guys? I mean, you're whoever the coach is, we're all going to support. We're all going to hope he does a good job, and that's all there is to it. And as we've discussed in the more recent shows, when it comes to hiring a head coach, there's no perfect science. Yeah. It could work either way, right? All you got to do is look at the two teams that have risen up this year with the new head coaches, with the Bears and with the with the
Patriots.
one guy's the veteran guy that fits the McCarthy mold with a Mike Vrabel. The other one is the hotshot coordinator with Ben Johnson. So either way could work. We're all going to support whoever they pick. I think my line of thinking, and I think a lot of Giants fans' lines of thinking of why they want the more experienced coach at this point in time is just because we want to try something different. We haven't had an experienced head coach hire that's had some success at that position since Tom Coughlin. We've gone for the hotshot coordinators. Yes, Shermer had some experience as a coach, but he didn't get that job because of his head coaching experience with the Browns. He got that job because of his OC success with the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that's why a lot of Giants fans want to go that route, because it's something different. And especially with the way that this team is now, we need to build it from the ground up. But either way, it could work. You just got to get the right guy in here.
I'll tell you another guy that could be coach of the year, and he was a coordinator, is Liam Cohen. I mean, how good are the Jaguars this year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Really good.
So there's another coordinator. Like you mentioned, Chris, I don't think there's an exact science, but.
Well, I think Anthony was going to say something.
Yep.
Yeah, my question is, obviously we talk about McCarthy a lot. If Tomlin gets cut loose from Pittsburgh, we talk about him. But who else? Like, ideally, I would love to have a head coach who has former head coaching experience. But those guys are pretty hard to find, and a lot of them aren't necessarily the most attractive candidates because they failed so miserably the last time they were head coaches. So it's like, who is on that short list of guys with previous head coaching experience? One that I will throw out there, though, is Jeff Hafley for the Green Bay Packers. He doesn't have prior head coaching experience at the NFL level, but he was a head coach for Boston College. And I do think that's interesting to look at it from that approach because he's been very successful as a coordinator in the NFL, and he has experience running a program. I mean, there's arguably more put on the plate for a college football head coach than there is for an NFL head coach because you have to go through all the recruitment and everything. There's even more to do. Arguably, like I said, you could debate that for sure, but Hafley's an interesting one. I think that's.
I think another one from the collegiate ranks is Freeman. That's
but
he's not leaving Notre Dame. He's not leaving Notre Dame.
Yeah, Freeman's not going anywhere. But Hafley, though, I just think he is a first-time head coach, but he's also played the role before just at a different level, which I think is interesting.
And he's from Jersey too, right? Hafley, I think.
Yeah, he's a Jersey guy.
Yeah,
he grew up a Giants fan. His family loves Giants fans. He's not number one on my short list, but I do think he's an interesting guy. And like Chris, you were just mentioning how good the Packers are this year. Hafley's got a lot to do with that. So I think he's somebody that to at least give consideration to.
He'll get an interview for sure. Definitely, he'll get an interview.
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, not that they have anything to do with one another, but we did have a head coach here that also was the head coach of Boston College. He ended up being pretty good for us.
That kind of worked.
Coughlin. So I mean. Maybe we need to go a Boston College head coach. Who knows? It'll be interesting, but I feel like.
Oh, go ahead. No, I see somebody in the chat mentioned John Harbaugh. I don't know if the Ravens would fire him. For all we know, the Ravens may still. They're only a game out. They could easily win that division, but of course, John Harbaugh would go to the top of my list, probably even above Tomlin if he became available. Of course, I would love that, John Harbaugh.
Yeah. I don't know. What I do know is, like I said, if Joe Shane is here and he's a lame duck GM, you're not going to get any of these top guys anyway because they're going to say, "What the hell am I going to go there for? What if I'm on thin ice right away? I got pressure in right away, And if I don't, and the GM's fired, I'm going too. So that's tough. I mean, I'm not saying that a head coach should go in there and go, "Well, if I win 5 games, they're going to get fired." That's the wrong mindset. But at the same time, this team is fucking terrible for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you can't have a head coach going, "I'm going to go in there and turn a team that's, I'm guessing we're going to win 3 games. Team that's won 3 games and back to 6 games in the last 2 years. And I got to go in there and turn this shit around. And if I don't turn it around immediately, the GM's going to be going and then I'm going to be gone." Yeah, I think a head coach is going to want, especially if it's a first-time head coach, they're going to want to have some leeway there.
Yeah,
So
Shane's gone, and the inactivity on the bye week, I think, is even more of a telltale sign.
I think he's.
We didn't at least, unless I missed it, there was no chatter in terms of potential extension talk with Wan'Dale Robinson, Jermaine Illuminor, Cordell Flott. So I think that's even more of a hint that Joe Shane's probably gone.
I agree. I don't see him coming back. Jason, thank you again, buddy. He says the Patriots game was rough. We're New England's hot right now. We're struggling. That game doesn't really tell the story of this team. We have fought. We need a head coach. I think the team just wanted to buy and the team's done.
Yeah, I think they were just eager to get to the bye week and get a break. I think the bye week being so late in the season really hurt the Giants. You think about it from when they went through that run where they were so close in all those games but kept losing. Imagine if they had the bye week in the middle of that and they could have reset, gotten together as a team during the bye and said, you know what, we are close. Let's make a couple adjustments. Let's put our heads down. Let's relax for a week. And then let's come back the next week and let's kick some ass. You know, like a bye week really would have benefited the Giants around week 8 or something. That would have been
right after the Eagles game would have been perfect.
Perfect. That would have been perfect because they would have rolled with so much momentum after that. And maybe even over the bye week, you know, after a close loss, let's say it was after the Broncos game, that might have been a perfect time too, because then after that, you probably are firing Shane Bowen, and then you're coming out of it probably rejuvenated after firing Shane Bowen, and you still have Dable at the helm. So, you know, like, let's see. And then, but the team's relaxed, they're rested. The late bye week really screwed this team over, honestly. Everything screwed this team over. They screwed themselves over for sure. I'm not kind of dismissing anything. They're poorly coached and all that, but I just think they were eager to get to the bye week on Monday night, and that's why they really just I thought the effort wasn't there.
That's a great point about the late bye, and they came out like they were rushing to the bye. It at least felt like, as a fan, especially when you watch the ferocity that New England played with. It felt like as a fan that the Giants were just like they're throwing in the towel. They just want to get the game over with. It was kind of similar to the game two last year when the Giants benched Daniel Jones and the team felt like they kind of like revolted from that. Like the first game right after, remember, like the team didn't even come out and like try. It felt similar to that. Like there was no effort last week by the Giants. And yeah, it probably had a lot to do with the upcoming bye and the late bye in the season. That was a good point by Anthony.
Yeah, I also think Mike Vrabel still a little salty that, you know, Eli whooped their ass.
Yeah.
And he wanted to take it out of the Giants.
The thing is, though, Baddog, Vrabel didn't really take it out on the Giants. Like, I feel like if he wanted to, they could have won that by 60 points.
It's true.
Like I felt like they were kind of working on things after that first.
They could have when they were up. Yeah, well, I mean, he was congratulating people like before the half.
Yeah.
Over. You know, the game was over. Just want to say this portion of Giants Collective is brought to you by our friends at Sleeper. Check out Sleeper, guys and girls. Get a 100% match deposit bonus up to $100 by using the promo code HMA in your first deposit. Let's hear from them. 30 seconds and back with the rest of your questions right after this.
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Also, on top of that promotion, if you click the link in the description and open a brand new Sleeper account, they're going to give you $20 for nothing. That's right. All you got to do is click the link in the description, open a brand new Sleeper account. You get $20, no deposit required, no credit card, no debit card, no nothing. You get to check out Sleeper for free. But how the hell do you beat that? Sleeper is awesome. We have a lot of fun with it. And if you like it, you're still eligible for that 100% match deposit bonus up to $100. Terms and conditions apply. Have some fun, win some cash, test your sports knowledge at Sleeper. It's amazing. We have Sleeper and we have Manta Sleep. So obviously the Giants have been put to sleep this year. So you can see we have a theme here on Giants Collective. It's all about getting a good night's sleep. And with that, we go to Tudo. And he says, Baddog, you should order some Manta Sleeps for French rugby players, mate. I'm currently suspended again for spine-shattering tackles. But my mates will put French players to sleep hard and fast on Friday.
There you go.
I don't know if Manta Sleep makes casts or gurneys. Maybe we can get some hospital equipment to sponsor the show, and then we can give it to Tudo.
We made Tudo the spokesperson then, if we did that.
Right. That's true. Love Tudo. Charles, thank you, buddy. He says Shula or Minter for head coach, in my opinion. I think we should trade down and get Caleb Downs. Nubin is soft. About Tyler Nubin, do you think Nubin's just regressed because the defense in general sucks? Or you just think he's not good? Like, because he was pretty damn good last year.
I'm willing to give him another year before I close the door on him because I think Shane Bowen is just a horrible defensive coordinator. But the one thing that we notice it every week when we call the games, Bad Dog, and this may have something to do with coaching. His angles on these tackles is pitiful. I don't even necessarily think it's that he's soft per se. I just think he takes horrible angles on a lot of these plays. Horrible angles.
He obviously failed geometry.
Yeah.
I think it's a few things like Shane Bowen. I think, like Chris said, I'm willing to give him till next year. So am I. I'm willing to give a lot of the players on this defense another year to kind of prove that Shane Bowen was holding them back. But I don't think it was just Shane Bowen holding Tyler Nubin back. I also think the defensive line being as bad as it is, I've talked about this before, it allows the running backs to get to the second level quickly. It allows them to get to the third level with like they're running a track meet. They just have a full sprint right at Tyler Nubin. Makes it really hard to pick your angle, especially if you're not good at picking angles. It makes it look even worse when that running back has a full head of steam. So I think that's part of the issue. But I also think Tyler Nubin in his rookie year was a little overrated. I mean, he finished the season, he got hurt, so he missed a whole bunch of games towards the end. He only made a few plays in coverage. I don't think he had an interception. He had a low amount of pass breakups as well. And he had this tackle angle issue last year. It just looks worse this year, I think, because the Giants' run defense actually got somehow worse. So the guys in front of him are playing the run even worse. So he's in more one-on-one tackling situations, and he's just not able to convert them. But last year he wasn't in as many one-on-one situations, but I don't think he was all that good in them anyway. So I don't think he's a real good player, but like Chris said, I'm willing to give him another year. And if he doesn't turn it around after that, sure, you move on. But also Caleb Downs, I wouldn't be drafting Caleb Downs because I think Tyler Nubin is bad. I would be drafting Caleb Downs because I think Caleb Downs is a special player. Yeah. And Tyler Nubin's not standing in my way from drafting a special player like Caleb Downs. So I think the more the merrier in that case. You know, if Tyler Nubin ends up coming out next year and being a really good player alongside Caleb Downs, more the merrier. It's even better.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with a guy like Reese for me, Anthony. Like a lot of people project. I know he's playing linebacker at the collegiate level, even though they move him around. But a lot of people project him to be an edge. I'm not going to shy away from drafting Reese because we just took Abdul Carter, number 3 overall, because we signed Brian Burns to a big contract. If he's the best player on the board, you can never have enough edge rushers. So same philosophy for both of those players. If you think they're the best player on the board, the Giants need as many good players as they could get on the defense.
So let me counter with this. Number 1 player on Pro Football Focus's draft board right now is Ruben Bain Jr. from Miami. He is an edge.
Right. Do
you feel like it's too many edges if you take another one? Like if the Giants are picking first, you would take him?
Not if I legitimately felt they were the best player in the draft.
Yeah, if he's BPA.
Now, if I'm picking first overall, if I'm the Giants, my goal is not to stay there and pick. My goal is to trade down with a team like the Jets, a team like the Raiders, a team like the Cardinals, a team that needs a quarterback. But if I'm staying at first, I'm taking the best player, period.
Here's a counter, just a hypothetical. If you feel like Bain is the BPA, best player in the draft, and he's there number 1 on the board, rather than trading down and foregoing the opportunity to draft him, you could draft him, and then you could trade away Kayvon Thibodeau and maybe get your 3rd-round pick back that you lost in the Jaxson Dart trade. That's an alternative, and that's something that Alex and I
especially if you get a new GM, that becomes more of a reality.
Yeah,
right?
For
if
sure.
You're picking another edge, because there's a lot of people that talk about Abdul Carter got picked to replace Kayvon Thibodeau. If you take another edge, you're not going to give Thibodeau money because you're going to have 2 guys in rookie contracts. It wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. You could put that money elsewhere. To go back to Nubin, to be fair to him, yeah, he's taking some bad angles, but this guy's not the only one who has just been fucking atrocious at tackling this year. The entire team is like that. But I want to see Tyler Nubin with a good defensive coordinator. Everybody on this team, in my opinion, maybe obviously outside of Brian Burns, and I think Thibodeau had a good year. Granted, his sack numbers weren't huge, but I feel like Thibodeau played very well. I feel like everybody else in this defense underachieved. Everybody. I don't think anybody else besides Brian Burns exceeded
expectations. I was going to say Burns, that's a good. I mean, think here, Bad Dog. Everybody in the secondary underachieved. Everybody.
I mean, Dexter Lawrence underachieved massively.
Well, Flott. I think Flott overachieved.
Oh, good call, Flott. Yep. Flott. Yeah, good call, Anthony. Flott. Yeah.
So, all right. So
other than him, 2 out
of 11 is not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's our winning percentage, so it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not
Hmm.
been good. I want to give Newman a chance, but like you said, Anthony, just because you have Tyler Newman doesn't prevent you from taking Caleb Downs if you feel like he's the best player on your board. And I feel like that's what the Giants are going to do. If they finish with the first overall pick and they want to trade back to 4 or whoever moves up and they get an extra first round pick and I feel like wherever they're picking, if they're picking first, they trade back to 4, they end up picking 4 overall anyway, or they're 5th. I think that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and if you trade down, you also fall into that category where you could even go with one of these guards that people are talking about. I've seen Fano. He's a highly talked about guard prospect. I'm open to anything if you're the Giants.
You just take your best player on your board.
You just want to take the best.
Because you don't need a quarterback. That's what makes this such an actual good situation for the Giants is you don't need a quarterback. So you literally can just take you need the best player on the board, on your board. And I feel like that's what the Giants are going to do. I don't know who the best player is going to be. And I don't think Joe Shane's going to be making that decision.
I'm gonna make this prediction right now, though. If the Giants stay at the first pick, which I think we all agree they're probably not going to, because we're not that lucky as Giants fans, and I just think Dart against these teams is going to find a way to win a game or two. But if the Giants finish with the first pick, I think we're trading with the Jets, because there is not a team that has more draft picks than the New York Jets. After all the trades that they made, they got all those picks for Sauce Gardner. The Colts look like fools right now. They got all those picks for Quinn Williams with the Dallas Cowboys, and everybody on the planet knows the Jets need a quarterback. If the Giants are picking first overall, I think we're trading down with the Jets, and you may end up getting, say the Jets have the 6th pick, you might get the 6th, and you might get like the 17th because wherever the Colts are going to be picking, I think they have the Colts pick this year, and then you get a future first probably on top of that. You could fill a lot of holes really quick if you're the Giants. If you have a trade partner like the Jets that have as many picks as they do in next year's draft, you get 2 first-round picks in next year's draft from the New York Jets, along with future draft capital.
Yeah, that'd be huge for them. So, Then again, I think it'll be a different GM making that call. So, I don't. A lot of people ask about Brandon Brown. Like, I don't really know. I like Brandon Brown, but like he's part of this thing. So how much? I just don't know how much. Like people ask me that, and I'm like, how much influence does he have over what's going on here? I think you just got to
know for sure.
If you're going to blow it up, blow it up. I don't want Brandon Brown.
I agree. And it's hard because you can't tell for sure how much influence or what his impact is because we don't know exactly what his job details are. We don't have that kind of behind the scenes access. But if you do read what's written about Brandon Brown on the Giants website, they explain that he does a lot of the pro personnel scouting. So that would mean he does a lot of the free agency scouting. And the Giants free agency has been a lot of misses. I mean, Jermaine Illuminor was a good one. But I mean, if you're looking at Holland and Adebo, those are 2 big misses so far. So obviously, coaching. And also I remember in 2022 when the Giants drafted Kayvon and they drafted Evan Neal and, they had, by all accounts, a great NFL draft class. Shortly after that, the Giants website added underneath Brandon Brown's bio that he was instrumental in getting that draft class put together. That's no longer under his bio. They took that away because that draft class doesn't look so good anymore. So I remember seeing that on there. I know it's not there. I know it was there because I put it into articles I wrote. So if he is instrumental in that 2022 draft class, I think that's a stain on his resume.
I feel like a big reason why a lot of people call for Brandon Brown to replace Joe Shane, you don't really hear it as much anymore, at least from what I see on Twitter, is because they saw clips on Hard Knocks where they agreed with Brandon Brown's perspective, I think, on the Saquon Barkley thing and disagreed with Shane. Like, okay, it's a clip where they try to bullshit.
But how bad? But 2022 or 2023, I don't think 2022 outside of Evan Neal is that bad. Wanda Robinson ended up being pretty damn good. Cordell Flott, Micah McFadden.
Those guys have developed for sure.
Ellinger.
Late bloomers, if you want to call them that, they've definitely developed into solid players. I think it's a much better draft class than a lot of fans are willing to give it credit for. So I don't know. I mean,
if I was
just bringing it up because
what grade would you give that draft right now? I'd give it a C because the Evan Neal pick just drives that class down so much.
It does. And I still think even some of the hits like Kayvon is technically a hit, but a lot of fans will say he's not a hit. He should be a better player for a top 5 overall
That
pick.
pick's a C pick. That pick's a C pick. It's not a disaster, but it's not a hit. Yeah.
And then even Wandale is now one of the best slot receivers in the NFL, but who else was on the board? George Pickens and other playmakers. And it's like, how big of a hit was that pick is debatable among fans as well. I think it was a good pick, but was it a home run? Maybe not, especially if he leaves in free agency. Then you're going to look back at it and say, okay, clearly he wasn't going to.
If we have a new GM, he probably is going to leave it.
Well, let's go pick by pick. Kayvon, I'm going to go C. What do you guys go?
I'll go C plus.
C plus?
Yeah, B minus.
B minus? Okay.
So we'll just call it a C. That's the average.
Evan Neal's a Z. He's not even an F. He's a Z.
That's terrible.
Complete whiff. Wandell, I'll go at least B. I might even go as high as B plus. You can make the argument, though, that they could have taken Pickens, but Pickens is a head case, and Wandell
Pickens got traded from one of the most stable organizations.
Sure. I'm not necessarily. I'm not holding that against him. I was kind of playing devil's advocate because I've seen fans online.
No, I know what you're saying.
So yeah,
I think I'll go B plus on that.
I give him a B plus.
I'd go B plus.
Second round pick. That's a good pick. Flott's at least a B, probably a B plus right now, right?
Yeah, I would say that.
I would say more B minus. Like he's had a good year. He's had a good year this year, and I think he's good. And he developed into this, but this is the only year out of the 4 years on that rookie contract that they're actually getting positive value out of him. And to be fair, though, that's not on Flott. I've said this before. The Giants messed that one up. He came into the NFL a boundary cornerback. Why were they so insistent on forcing him into the slot? He was never comfortable
the Giants do that to all their players.
It derailed his development. Now he's finally back on the outside. And, what do you know? He's a pretty good outside cornerback. I never understood that, and that really messed with his development.
Here's what I'll say. Here's my argument to give that pick at least a B, maybe even a B plus. We're arguing on here. We're saying they need to extend him and keep him on the football team. If you extend at least in my opinion, if you extend a third round pick on a big contract, to me that's got to be at least a B, if not a B plus. How many third round picks see 4 or 5 year deals with the same team that drafted him? At least with the Giants, not often. That would be my argument why I'm giving it at least a B, if not a B plus. And he was a developmental pick when they picked him, so you knew he was going to take a few years to hit his stride.
I'll go with a B on it, but it's kind of Paulson Adebo he's going to get about a Paulson Adebo contract, and Paulson Adebo was a third round pick for the Saints. Like, this is kind of a third round cornerback you expect to develop into this kind of player. So
yeah, maybe I'm just so used to the Giants whiffing on that position, but I think I'll go. I'm going to go B plus at that pick. I think that's a good pick.
Anthony, you mentioned some though. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the coaching seems like it seems like the Giants do this shit to all their players. Like, they draft them and end up not putting them in the spot that they played college in, or like they're not strength. They put them out of position, which is going to hinder their development. So again, how much of this is? This was my whole argument for why I wanted to keep Joe Shane, was because I felt like there's talent here, but the coaching really fucks them up. And I'm like, can we get good coaches in here to see what the guys do? I don't know. I think that's at least a B, the Cordell Flott pick. And
McFadden, I think you go at least a B too, even with the injury for a fifth-round pick.
Yeah, definitely.
And then Bellinger. I mean, Bellinger's
a solid B minus. He's a good player. Yeah.
I'd go C. I think he's about an average player, and you drafted him in the middle rounds. He's average.
He was trending toward more than average. I like Bellinger, though. He's a great blocker. I think the Giants should use him more than they do. But yeah, I get this. He's between a C and a B for me.
It's not like he's a superstar. He's like a game changer. He's solid. He's a solid player for a fourth round pick. Again, I don't think that 2022 draft class is, but the 2023 draft class is.
Well, now Azudu was
Azudu was in there. That's an F. I mean, he's not playable.
And in there.
Marcus McKethan, that's an F. So it's like you had your misses, but you expect misses in a draft class. So I mean, you're not going to bat 1,000.
I think only because of the Neal pick, that's like a C draft for me. If it wasn't for the Neal pick, it's probably a B, maybe even a B plus. Like, it was a good draft overall when you look at it. But the 23 draft is where it's a disaster.
Awful. The 23 class is an F. But the thing with 22 is now it's a B. For the first 3 years of that class, it was probably unanimously a D. I mean,
but Anthony, drafts sometimes take time to develop.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I say that
Yeah,
all the
wait,
time, and
they
I always
did make
say
the
the
postseason
rookies
in
play too
2022.
much. That's the problem with the Giants. They put the rookies on the field too
Yeah.
much because they don't have enough talent, and that hurts the development. That hurts the way that the draft class looks. That's why I was happy this year. Like Darius Alexander wasn't forced into the lineup early. Like some of these guys didn't have to play right away. Marcus Bowe years ago was a day one starter on this Giants team. I'm so happy that he's not. Exactly, Matt Parrott. So it's like and I get, you need to give them time to develop. And that's why I'm happy that these guys all did develop. And so it is a good draft class now. But, at the same time, if you didn't force them in year one and you didn't mess up Cordell Flott's development, you didn't do this and that, maybe they would have been a B class by year 2 or year 3. I think the development part of it is where the Giants really do mess up.
How much of that is on Dable, though? How much of that is on the Dable?
It's tough because some of it's on Dable because they don't develop the players properly based on like playing them in position and but also they have to play more than they should because the talent on the roster isn't good enough. So like Tyler Nubin's a great example. Tyler Nubin probably shouldn't have played 100% of snaps up until he got hurt last year. That was absurd. He's a rookie. 100% of snaps, they put him directly in the Xavier McKinney role. Why? Because they let Xavier McKinney walk out of the door. What did that do to Tyler Nubin? Well, he got hurt because most players can't play 100% of snaps, and it screwed up his development because he lost out on time in his rookie season, and he was playing too many snaps without learning the game properly. So it's like these guys are on the field too much, the rookies, and that's why they don't develop properly. So I can't tell if it's just because of the coaching. Part of it's because of the roster so bad that these guys have to play, and sometimes you want more reps. That helps. Sometimes more reps can hurt too.
I'm looking at this 23 draft class.
It's bad.
Deonte Banks is an F at this point.
Yeah.
We can't look at him off the team. For a first round pick, he's an F. Hyatt's an F. Eric Gray's is an F. Trey Hawkins, maybe a D. He played a little bit for a 5th round rookie, but not good. Jordan Riley and Owens, non-contributor. The only guy that potentially could grow into a B or B plus is John Michael Smith. I'm not even saying he's there yet.
Bad draft class. That was a bad.
I don't even think
like a C minus even, and he's the best pick in that draft.
I don't even know if I would give him that. I mean, that's a top 50 pick, and he's just now in year 3, arguably average, and I would say he's still.
I'm not saying he's. I'm not, but at least he has the capability of becoming a B or B plus, like a Cordell Flott did this year.
Yeah,
but maybe. Outside of him,
he's the only guy that has promise. He's the only guy that.
He's the only guy that can see the field.
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a bad class.
That's as bad as it gets.
That was a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look at 24 though. It's like we praised it a lot last year, rightfully so, because a lot of those guys played a lot and they looked good. But if you guys remember, I said that last season. I said these guys are playing too much. They look so good because they're on the field so much. But let's see if this is sustainable. And here we are in year 2. Tracy's barely even a player that we consider in our plans. Tyler Nubin looks terrible this year. I don't know.
All right, let's look at it. I don't care the injury or not. Malik Neighbors is still an A pick.
Sure.
He's fantastic. I know it's 6th overall, but he's still. We all agree he's fantastic. Nubin, at best, is a D, C minus right now at best, and I think it's probably lower than that. Drew Phillips is a decent pick. I know he's not great in coverage, good tackler. He's a contributor for a 3rd round pick. I'll go with C there. I'm not going to go higher than that. I go with C there.
I would go up to a C plus because I think he has potential to do what Cordell Flott did and have a big breakout in that 3rd season as a starter.
Theo Johnson, C plus. Not a great blocker.
If he could catch the ball, if he could catch the ball, I feel like he has a potential to be a B.
Potential.
Because he might still lead the team in receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
He's got to learn to catch the ball. But I feel like Theo could develop into a B plus pick for the 4th.
I agree with that. He could, yeah. Tyrone Tracy. I'll still go at least a B. For a 5th round running back, I'll go a B. For if you draft him in the 2nd round, no. But in the 5th round, I think that's a good pick. That's a B pick for me.
Yeah, I mean, he was a starter.
I mean, I think last year it was. But last year it was like an A pick. Everybody was like, "That's an A pick. That's a great pick." And now, that's just my point, though. Is I think it ebbs and flows so much every year. Yeah, he's had a tough go about it with injuries this year, but it just ebbs and flows so much year to year with the draft classes. And so I don't even remember how we got on this topic. To be completely honest, we've kind of just gone on a side last year. It's been a good conversation for sure, but I don't know. It's just
So
I think when you look
overall,
at Joe Shane's
now
draft
that we just
classes,
talk about those 3 draft classes because it's too early to talk about the 25 class. You need at least
Sure.
another year. Just talking about his first 3 draft classes. 22, I'm going C in terms of the overall class. 23, I'm going F.
F minus.
24, I'm going B minus overall. I think it's a good class. I'm not saying it's a great class. I think it's a good class.
I think I agree with all those. Those are fine. Yeah.
I think 22. I know the Evan Neal pick was a total miss, but I mean, anybody else picking in that spot would have been. I mean, everybody loved Evan Neal.
Yeah.
I just sometimes it doesn't work out. It's hard to fault the Giants for taking him there. I still think a lot of those guys developed into pretty solid players. I'd probably give that C plus, B
That's fair.
minus.
Yeah.
You know, because again, I think you're looking to Fly, you're looking at Wandale. I mean, those are 2 of our best starters on each side of the ball. And Wandale's doing this without, he's the number 1 receiver right now. And he's still doing it with it. Imagine what he could be with Malik Neighbors in there, where they're,
Oh, it's a tough class to judge, Baddog, because overall there's a lot of good picks in that draft. But when you miss on a pick that high, like Gettleman didn't have a miss like that when he picked high, right? Andrew Thomas was a huge hit. You could certainly argue that Barkley wasn't the right pick, but it was a hit. He's a good player. Daniel Jones, I wouldn't necessarily call it a huge miss. He had moments where he was a contributor. He's not like Evan Neal, who hasn't contributed at all. So that's why it's very hard for me to draft. Just the Evan Neal pick alone, it's very hard for me.
I know the Evan Neal pick looks really bad, but I can't.
But
who was mad at that pick on draft?
Yeah, but my issue with the Evan Neal pick, and I think this is a trend with some of these other picks that have come out questionable, is yes, I praised the Evan Neal pick when it happened. I loved the Evan Neal pick. But as fans, we're gonna fall in love with the players. As general managers, scouts, front office personnel, their job is to figure out if the player and the person are both worthy of being in the NFL and being that high of a pick. And what we've seen a few times is they ignore red flags under Joe Shane.
You're looking at Abdul Carter right now, and that could be a massive.
Correct. He had red flags, and right now we're at least waving yellow flags because I still think the talent is there for sure. But we've seen character get in the way. Evan Neal did not have a work ethic. That much was questioned prior to the draft, and it was continued to be questioned after the draft. So they ignored that, banking on the player rather than the person. And then you look at Deonte Banks, same story. Then you look at Abdul Carter, same story. Again, Carter's story isn't written just yet, but
not even close to written.
Not even close to written. But the point that I'm making is, yes, he finds talent sometimes in these drafts, and he's built, I've said this before, I think he's built a pretty good roster over the course of the last few seasons. I think this Giants team would be competitive with a good coaching staff, but what he hasn't built is a good culture. And that's because he's drafted players like Evan Neal and Deonte Banks. And again, let's see about Abdul Carter, and he's brought in other guys like James Hudson, and he has let other guys go like Xavier McKinney, like Saquon Barkley. So one half of the job, I think he's done a good job. And it's arguably the more important half, depending on how you look at it, the roster building part. He's built a good roster, but he's not built a good culture. And that's the other half of the job for the general manager. And that has to do with hiring the coaching staff. That has to do with those picks like Evan Neal and others. And that, to me, I think is why you find a new GM. He laid down a good foundation for the next GM. Next GM builds the culture. It's like you pay them to do a specific job. That's my argument on it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Anthony, if the Giants end up winning a Super Bowl in 5 or 6 years, which we all hope they do, Joe Shane will get some credit for it. Right? He was not a great GM by any stretch of the imagination, but at the end of the day, he did draft Jaxson Dart, and he deserves credit for that if he ends up being the quarterback that gets us to the promised land. So he may be able to look back and say, I did some good things for that franchise.
Yeah. And if that happens, he might get a job somewhere else. So
yeah.
Well, David, thank you. He says, Chris, sorry about Diaz. Hopefully they resign Pete Alonso.
Yeah, I want Pete back, but I understand if the Mets don't do it because he's 32, Baddog, 33. He's a right-handed first baseman. He's a defensive liability. But as a Met fan, and Yankee fans may take this for granted because you guys have had so many lifetime Yankees that are great. All you got to do is look at Monument Park, right? The Mets have, outside of David Wright, have never had a great player start his career and end his career as a New York Met. So selfishly as a Mets fan, I want Pete Alonso to finish his career as a New York Met, but I could understand based off of the circumstance if the Mets let him go. But I mean, you look at Reyes, they let him go. DeGrom,
The Mets have never had that guy. Strawberry finished his career there. Gooden. Gary Carter came from the Expos.
Pete Hernandez came from the Cardinals. Piazza came from the Dodgers. David Wright's the only one. David Wright's the only one.
Seaver went to the Reds. Ryan obviously was only there a couple of years. So
Kuzman, I don't think was a lifetime Met.
That pitching staff for the Mets.
Yeah. DeGrom, the Mets let go. That's why I want Pete to finish as a Met. I want to get to see a guy start and finish his career as a New York Met. But I understand if they don't do it. But he's going to be a tough bat to replace. He had a great year last year. Great year.
Jermaine, thank you, buddy. For the Giants lose out, have them start Russell for the remaining games. I mean, if they wanted to tank,
do that. But I understand your mindset there.
That would be the way to tank.
Yeah.
But even if something happened to Dart, it's going to be Jameis Winston, and Jameis has already proven he's already proven he's good enough to win games. Should have beat fucking Detroit.
Kafka already came out and definitively said he's the QB2. He's
I mean, we could have beat Green Bay. Should have beat Detroit. Those are both. I mean, Jameis put up 500. The Giants put up 500 yards of offense against Detroit with Jameis.
That's the most amazing stat to me, by the way. I don't remember the exact stat, but I think there's been 7, 8, or 9, at least the week that Jameis did that, throughout the totality of the year from that point to the beginning of the year, 500-yard games in the NFL. The Giants had 2 of them. They lost both games, and the other 7 games were wins for the other teams.
Yeah, I'm sure that. Well, no, Detroit had maybe it was Dallas had like 494 yards. Like they were close.
Yeah,
to having 500 yards. I was gonna say the other. I feel like all the other 500-yard games were against us. So
yeah,
it surprised me with Shane Baum. But with that said, that brings us to the close of another edition of Giants Collective. I don't know what happened there, why that's like that. That shouldn't be like that. They're the same thing. Main person threesome. Well, we're not going to do that. I'm just going to put this here for now. I want to give a thank you guys and girls for tuning in. Appreciate you. Haven't done so, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. It does help us out. Again, we're very close to 6,500 subscribers. You can check us out wherever you get your podcast. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple. If you listen to us on Apple, make sure you leave a 5-star review. That helps us out as well. TikTok and Instagram, Giants Collective on there as well. Big shout out to the sponsors tonight: Doer, Man to Sleep, Sleeper, and of course, SeatGeek. And again, we'll see you guys and ladies on Thursday as we get ready to take on the Washington Commanders, who have had a very disappointing season, to say the least. A team that was, in the NFC Championship game, looked like they had everything in order. They got their quarterback, they got this and that, and then much like us in 2022, where we thought we'd turn the corner and we were ready to go, right back to where they came from. So it is what it is. But we'll talk more about that on Thursday. So for Anthony next to me, Chris over there on the other side, it's the Bad D Dizzle. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody. Watch Hard Knocks and laugh at the Eagles' loss. Well, actually, laugh at all the NFC East teams for losing. And we'll see you on Thursday. We are out. Peace.